Hi everyone, I'm the Dynamite Doll and you are watching episode 34 of Dirt with the Doll. Today I have a very special guest in the Dollhouse. He is Bill Apter, aka Uncle Bill. How are you today?
Well, I've also got an AKA of Wonderful Willie.
Yes,
You
your
know,
real name is William, isn't it?
it is, but Wonderful Willie comes from um, Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant back in the day when I was at the magazines and I was defending the Cow Championship Office Wrestling Championship. He gave me my wrestling name. Willie, Wonderful Willie. Yeah.
That
So
suits
I'm
you.
also I've got a few aliases, but that's the one when I go in the dressing rooms. A lot of times the guys say, "Willie, Wonderful Willie, how you doing today?"
Aw,
So I'm
so
glad to be in the dollhouse and Dirt with the Doll. Do you have anybody that comes in and cleans up?
I try to keep it as clean as I can, but sometimes I got to dig up that dirt. So,
Unbelievable,
yeah.
unbelievable. Well, I am glad to talk non-dirt, filth, non-filth, but whatever. It was just so great to have you and your incredible management crew down here a few months ago in Apter's Alley.
Yes, I've been very fortunate traveling around, petitioning to get my dad in the Hall of Fame, and I got to meet you in England along with,
Oh,
I think that
gee.
was the first time I met Blue Meanie, and so instantly we connected, and Justin Race told me you were Uncle Bill, so I was like, well, if he's your uncle and he's
Oh
my
yeah.
wrestling brother, then he's
Oh
my
yeah.
uncle too.
Yeah. I have plenty of love for my niece and nephew here.
Yes, one big happy wrestling family. So in about a week's time, I'll be in Las Vegas for Cauliflower Alley, where you're going to be inducted into the, well, I was going to say Hall of Fame, but it's not a Hall of Fame, but you're going to be getting the Lifetime Achievement Award, which is absolutely amazing. So I want to sit here and talk about your career today.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. And it's the Art Abrams Lifetime Achievement Award. He
Yes.
was a wrestling great from even before I was born, I think. But this is a real honor. But it's funny because people say, there's a lot of people want to induct me. This has been a viral thing going
Yeah.
online here. Um,
Have you
no, Josh, you're
decided?
not inducting me, but that's a sideline there. We can still talk about that later. But it's actually a presentation, but everybody calls it induction. And for some reason, almost everybody thought I was in there already. And I said, I'm not. Brian Blair checked the books and he said, how could we not have inducted you? He
Yeah.
even said inducted you. So it's finally going to happen. And there are two Hall of Fames that I'm not in. One is the WWE and the other is Cauliflower. And I don't know, we had down here in Apter's Alley in the back room, we had a ladder that was just lying there. And I had all the plaques, about 28 plaques from of Hall of Fame things that I've gone through, that
Yeah.
I've gotten. So I've made my ladder of success. Can you see this?
I can, and I've seen it in person. I've
I
been
know
lucky
it's a
enough. Look
ladder
at it.
with all my awards
That's
there.
awesome. Yeah,
Let's
you have a
see.
lot. I was looking at your Wikipedia and a lot of awards you've gotten so far. So,
I have, and the this one um, meant well. They all mean so much to me. This one was given to me by Roddy Piper when um, Sal Corrente ran Wrestle Reunion. He made me this belt plaque. Isn't that
that's amazing.
beautiful? Legend Award, yeah. And there are so many beautiful awards that I've gotten. And a lot of times I just say to people, and it's an old cliche, I'm not worthy, but they keep saying I am.
Yeah, you've done a heck of a lot. So, have you decided who's inducting you into this?
Oh, you had to bring that up.
I have
Okay.
a feeling you haven't got it figured out.
There's a short list. As you know, Josh Chernoff is someone who I've known since he was 9 years old. I've mentored him. He's currently a manager. He had his own teenage wrestling company. I've mentored him through the years, got him hooked up with Conrad Thompson for StarCast, and done so much for him. And now he's in ACW, one of the hottest independent companies.
Yep,
And
it's
he's got,
awesome. Awesome
yeah,
championship wrestling,
yeah,
right? Yep.
yes, yes, and they run in like Poughkeepsie and upstate New York and other places. And he came over here last week just saying, I know I'm inducting you. That's
Yeah.
Josh. I'm sorry. I love you like a nephew. He's an adopted nephew of mine too. And I said, you're not inducting me. And he's been um, very talkative about this on social media. And people want to know if it's a work or a shoot. I think, and I understand this because I've known him since he was 9 years old, that
Yeah.
he got his hurt feelings and his managerial personality comes out that protects him from having his feelings hurt.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
yes, it
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
So is
So
he
no,
planning, like, he'll be there regardless?
it, no, he's not going to be there. He told
Oh,
me, he
he's waiting.
told me on a video recently, I induct you. So you're already inducted. So whoever does it at Cauliflower is second.
I see.
Yes. So the deal here is who's going to induct me? Who's going to present me with it?
Yeah.
I, I've got several ideas, and whoever's going to be there, we'll all find out that night when it comes to that moment, because I don't want to say who it is, and then I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I've got a ton
Yeah.
of
Everyone
wrestlers.
loves Uncle Bill. I
Well,
can
thank you, but
understand.
I've got a ton of wrestlers who are saying, you promised me if you ever go into WWE or Cauliflower, I can induct you.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yeah, but that's going to hurt this other guy's feelings. So feelings, nothing more than feelings.
Well, I
Old
can't
song.
can't wait to
Old
find
song.
out because I'll be
Oh,
there in the flesh.
I can't wait to see you and your management team there. I'm also very proud of that you kind of came out of nowhere a while ago, and now everybody knows who you are.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm definitely
Yeah,
using that little number as a clip.
yeah, yeah. But the
That's so sweet.
the whole thing with you trying to get your dad in the WWE Hall of Fame, and what a great promotion of this you are doing, and he belongs there. So hopefully, 2027, it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're doing all the work for. Thank you so much for
You
saying.
you definitely are, definitely are.
So take me back to the Bronx when little William Apter was a child. Did you ever think life would turn out the way it has
Oh,
and your career
it
would
was
take you
little
where it did?
Billy After. It was little
Billy
Billy
Apter.
After. Yes. No, back then we moved from the Bronx to Queens when I was about 6 or 7 years old. So I don't remember a lot of the Bronx thing. I wasn't watching wrestling on TV a
Yeah.
lot, but I do remember one time my older brother Paul, who's no longer with us, used to prop me up on the bed and he'd go, little to the left, little to the right, drop kick. And he drop kicked me, and I didn't know what that was. All I know was he drop kicked me off the bed.
Like,
And
why is
one
he
night
doing
I was going past the living room, and this is all in my book, by the way. Is wrestling fixed? You know the answer, right?
that? It was never broken.
Right. I didn't know it was broken, so it's all in there. But one night I watched while he was watching TV, and I saw wrestling on TV, and there was this guy named Dick the Bruiser beating up an announcer named Lord Athol Leighton, and he beat the tar out of this guy. And I was like, wow. So when my brother wasn't home, I started watching that on TV. And then when I eventually moved to Queens and got into middle school or junior high school, I started making my own. I started watching pretty regularly, and I was watching Bruno Sammartino and Victor Rivera and Pedro Morales and oh my God, even before that, the Bastine brothers and Buddy Rogers and Antonino Rocca. And I started typing my own little fan club newsletter that I used carbon copy paper for and gave them out to friends in school. And that was
Wow.
like my first publication. I wanted to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
But my parents said it's not a good job for a nice boy. You're a
Wow.
nice boy. That's not a good job for you. So
So
I,
you
wa-
definitely had the intentions of working within wrestling at that age?
I think so. I was just a fan. I was a crazy fan. My dad and I used to go to the matches. He'd sneak me in because back in the '60s, you had to be 13 or over to get into wrestling or boxing. And my father knew a state athletic commissioner by the name of Pete Scalzo, a former um, boxer, and he just would say, "Just come see me. I'll put you two in the balcony, seated maybe 1,500 people, and just don't yell out. Don't make it obvious that you're a little kid."
Yeah.
So I did get caught and thrown out one
Did you?
time but Mark Lewin and Don Curtis, and Dottie Curtis is still alive. She's a member of Cauliflower and so many others. She's Don Curtis's widow. Don Curtis was a fabulous wrestler. He was a Marine. He was a Hall of Famer. He and Mark Lewin had a great tag team. So I had seen on Wednesday night TV after Lewin and Curtis turned bad guy, and some fan held up a sign, "You were a bum." And I said, "I'm going to do that." So I took that to the arena. My father said, "What are you bringing with you?" "Oh, nothing." I held it away from him. Then I ran down to the ring. "You are a bum." And Lewin and Curtis yelled out to the commission, "How old is this guy?" "Oh, he's about 10 years old." "Get him out of here."
Busted.
Yeah, so Dottie and I still chat about that.
Oh,
So
that is
so
so funny.
so yeah, so I started watching it as a fan,
Yeah.
and I still thought somehow I want to be a broadcaster. I want to be I want to be. This is way prior to Gene Okerlund and any of these guys. There were guys around. Gordon Soley was in Florida. Um, Lonnie Starr was a guy in New York, and Eric Page and Bill Cardell on WWWF TV. And that's what I wanted to do. So, but I never had the right inroads until I started with the magazines. And then everything was, well, maybe we can have you talk as a guest if you're on the magazines. Before the magazines, I know I'm jumping all over the place,
Oh, that's
but
okay.
I bought time on a radio station in New York, WHBI 105.9 FM. It was a Latino station, actually international station, all different ethnicities. And I bought a half hour time and drive time every week on Wednesdays for a show called Billy's Place that eventually became Inside Wrestling. And that got me into the dressing rooms down at the local shows. And I taped interviews on my cassette recorder. And I still have them. And a lot of them are on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see this, but I have a treasure chest in Apter's Alley here. Can you
Yeah.
see all the audio cassettes?
Yeah. Bunch of goodies in there. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. It's not only wrestling, it's a lot of boxing. I have interviews with George Foreman, Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
Yeah, because I covered boxing for many years
Yeah.
too. Sure. I'm the greatest of all time. I shot all these photos. Again, I know I'm jumping all over the place,
So
but I've
did
done a
you ever
lot.
think that your career would turn out the way it did? Do you think that being in New York as well had a lot to do with getting
Um,
involved in wrestling as heavily as you did? Because they had such a great territory back then.
well, it's funny because I didn't know, other than this one wrestling magazine, that there was any other territories.
Yeah, you wouldn't have known without social media, I guess.
Yeah, there was no social media. There was a wrestling magazine called Wrestling Review that showed pictures from different areas of the United States, but I didn't know they weren't part of the WWWF. So yeah, once I started learning about the politics, when I was interviewing young wrestlers back then, like Bill White and Mike Pappas, they would tell me, "Oh no, there's a guy named Paul Bosch in Texas that has nothing to do with Vince McMahon Sr." And then there's uh, um, this Jim Crockett Promotions in the Mid Atlantic. They have nothing to do with Vince McMahon, and I didn't know that there was such
Yeah.
a
Wide
so
variety.
many,
Yeah.
so many wrestling promotions. So when I started doing my radio show, it was all basically promotion for the New York shows. And then eventually, when I got into uh, the business with the magazines back in 1970, um, there was one other time, 1965 or 66, with just one story for Wrestling Review. But when I got into it, I was able to travel to the territories and then not only use the interviews for the magazines, but for my radio show. And again, it was welcome to Inside Wrestling, the magazine for wrestling fans. This is Bill Apter down at ringside. And now, here's what's happening, baby. Monday night, Pedro Morales talked about his match against Stan the Man Stasiak. And I talked to the Grand Wizard, Stasiak's manager, and asked him what happened. And then I'd cut in the interview. I used two reel-to-reel recorders to edit all that together.
So how quickly were you able to get stories out there while they were happening back
You're
then?
talking about in the magazines?
Yeah. Like if
Oh,
something happens at a match on
3
Friday,
months. 3 months. 3 months.
3 months. Oh wow.
The writing the story and
Yeah.
shooting the pictures all the way through publication was always 3 months throughout my entire magazine career.
Wow.
Yeah, when people looked at the rankings, they loved the rankings. So many people went to the rankings first. But sometimes they got old
Yeah.
because it was 3 months in advance. And I
Right.
get calls at the office from a promoter in Oregon. Hey, that guy's no longer here. I said, we printed 3 months ago.
Yeah. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
And now it's like instant. It's out there, right?
Oh
Things
my
with social
goodness.
media.
My goodness. It's so.
People are recording and it's on the
But
internet.
back to your initial question.
Yeah.
Did New York help? Vince McMahon Sr. and my mentor, Stanley Weston, who was the editor and owner of the magazines, did not get along because Weston did a lot of stories that annoyed Vince Sr. So when I showed up and I said I worked for Vince McMahon Sr., he said, well, you seem like a nice boy. This is Vince McMahon's father. So I'll give you a chance, but you got to watch what you write and who you talk to. And I said, great. And they gave me a chance. And I knew when to listen backstage. I knew who to talk to and when to not tell anybody the things I was hearing or learning, including my mentor, Mr. Weston. When he'd asked me, what did Vince tell you? I said, I have to use that word on you, Mr. Weston, kayfabe. I told him I wouldn't say anything to anybody.
Yeah.
And he thought that was so admirable. He was not angry at me. He thought that was totally, and he said to me, he said, there's two reasons I'm going to hire you now. Number one, this is how he talked. Number one, the story you just told me. And number two, before you took even this freelance job, you said you have to talk to your parents first. So anyone that has those kind of values is a good person. I never forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah. Some things just stick, don't they?
At his funeral, I said my parents birthed me, but Mr. Weston gave me life.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So back then it was really just about covering the actual matches rather than leaking backstage drama or tabloid stories.
Well, no,
What do you
that was out there, but I didn't do that. That's
Oh,
his
okay.
magazines, The Wrestler and Inside Wrestling, were extremely, extremely tabloidish.
Yeah.
Why a rapist invented so and so's dressing room, things
wow.
like that. No, but I remember when Bruno Sammartino in the early 70s came over to me and he said, you work for this Mr. Weston, who they did a life story on me. Who wrote that crap? And I said, what do you mean crap? He said, it said my sister was 9 years old and took a bayonet and killed a Nazi. I said, oh, that wasn't true? I said, of course not. So I talked to Mr. Weston. He said, that was a wonderful story. I said, Bruno has a real life story that involved the Nazis and him being almost an orphan and all that. So he said, take your tape recorder and go get the real story. And I did the first shoot interview in a wrestling magazine, in Inside Wrestling. Bruno Sammartino tells it like it is. And from that day on, Bruno put me over to everybody in the WWF. Couldn't have been better.
And you still have it? The
What?
tape in your drawer? That
Oh,
tape?
absolutely.
Do they work?
I've
Or
put it on YouTube. It's been on
Yeah,
YouTube for years. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
super
Yeah, I'll tell you something. The quality of the cassette tapes that I have are as good as digital when I play them back on a cassette recorder. It's almost
Yeah.
like it happened yesterday.
Wow. You gotta be careful still. Make sure you transfer that all over because we don't need anything
No,
happening.
no. No, I'm eventually, I've transferred some of them, but it just takes so long to do that. And my life is completely chaotic. It's
Mhm.
always been that way, and I love it. And I love being disorganized. I do. You saw the disorganization down here.
Well, it's organized chaos, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. You're probably
Absolutely.
ADHD like us.
Oh, I probably don't spell. I know what that means.
I
Don't
say us
spell.
like me and my mom. So,
Is your mom was very lovely, by the way. Got to
yes.
meet you.
Yeah,
It's
she says
funny.
hello.
It's oh great. Say hello back for me. It's funny that you're in Philadelphia quite a bit, but I had to go to England to meet you.
Yes. And then you
Mhm.
live right
Yeah,
outside Philly.
that was good. Hang on. I This is a commercial, I guess. I'm having my favorite beverage,
Oh, yes.
sparkling ice. Do they have this in
They do.
Calgary?
You can buy them at Costco. There's your
Oh,
Costco plug.
is it the same brand name?
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah,
What?
you were also a photographer.
Oh yeah. What is your flavor, by the way?
I think I like the orange one. I can't remember what flavor that is.
The
It's
orange mango
yeah.
is great, but I'm going to teach you to do something that makes it even greater. When you buy it, go to the supermarket and get the Tropicana 50% light with pulp. Pour out about an inch of the orange mango, put in the pulp juice, and just turn the bottle upside down. It is incredible.
And then you have a sparkling bill.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So you were talking about photography?
But yes, so your photography.
Well, that's mainly what I did.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I did very little writing.
Mhm.
Um, Mr. Weston kept saying with my writing, it, you're putting in the right place, you're putting in the right place with commas and all that. I can't hear your voice. I don't care if you put a comma where it doesn't belong or this where it doesn't belong. I want to hear your voice. So after a few months, I was able to do my columns where he said he could hear my voice. But when I
Okay.
came to him, when I sent him the first letter, I had sent him some pictures with a little junk Instamatic Kodak camera that I ran down a ringside, took a shot, boom, went back up to the balcony, boom. So he asked me how I got to the ring, and I told him I go to the shows, and so he arranged to meet me, and eventually, when he hired me, he got me my first camera. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
And probably the most famous picture I took with this little piece of junk, and please, I don't want to hurt its feelings, was a little Minolta rangefinder camera.
Yeah. Hey,
So
people are liking those again.
here I was at Madison Square Garden around with all the Associated Press um, photographers and writers and shooting with that and changing film like for every match. There was a lot of pressure because you didn't want to miss the finish, and nobody would tell me what the finish was to any of the
Right.
matches back
So
then.
what if you run out of film?
So Mr. Weston and I never did. Thank goodness. I was super
Yeah.
fast, and I didn't have a motor drive. So Mr. Weston and his wife Hope went on a trip one time on a cruise, and he said, "Some of our photographers are going to send film. I want you to take them to the lab, black and white film. I want you to take them to the lab and get them developed."
Mhm.
What he didn't know is that my uncle, when I was about 9 years old, taught me how to develop black and white film. Mr. Weston came back and he saw the film and he said, "What lab did you take him to?" I said, "The Apter lab." "What do you mean?" I said, "You know how to do this?" So yeah, so mainly when I was going around to the different territories, not only was I doing interviews, I started off doing photography.
Yeah.
That's really what started me in this business. Before the columns, before any of the writing of any of the stories. And I always tell people because they always say you did so much writing. I did more photography than writing. We had two or three versions of the greatest editors and freelance photographers and artists in the world doing these magazines. I never owned them. I never owned a piece of them. Dave Meltzer gave them the name the Apter Mags because I was the guy at ringside, and everybody saw me at ringside. So, yeah, I photographed some of the great matches of all time. The promoters would call me, and they'd never tell me. They would just say it would be a good idea for you to be in Miami, Florida, next Wednesday night to shoot the matches. And then when I was backstage, sometimes the wrestlers would say, make sure you have a lot of film for the finish. And I'd say, can you tell me the finish? And no, you'll see it.
Wow. Were you passionate about photography, or did you kind of just get
Oh,
thrown into
yeah.
it?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I loved it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I loved it. What the scary thing was when I started shooting color film, I shot slides, color slides. Those were best for the covers. And after I shot them, we didn't develop our own color slides. They were sent to a lab, and the nervousness of 36 exposures. Was
Yeah.
it overexposed? Was it too light? Was it too dark? And Mr. Weston was a perfectionist. I'd have 36 shots from a match. He'd look up this way at the light to see the slide, throw it in the garbage can. Another
Wow.
one. So I got
Yes,
maybe
I know what you're
eight.
talking about, the slides now. I have a bunch of my dad's Stampede Wrestling ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
I
Yeah.
do.
So a lot of what I shot turned into garbage. I thought they were great shots, but if they were one or two um, f-stops over or under exposed, he threw them in garbage.
Mm.
So then I started going through.
Definitely nerve-wracking
Yeah, oh yeah. But it was a hard knock life.
for
I
us.
had to thank you. I'm a showbiz kid. What can I tell you? So eventually, I graduated to Nikon's and started shooting with. Oh, just dropped the flash. Started shooting with this baby.
Yeah.
I have the original Nikon F. Yeah, so photography was my way. There are a lot of covers that you would have seen of the magazines with the guys
Do
posed.
you have a favorite cover?
Well, wait, before we get to that, I had a portable studio that me and Craig Peters, one of our other editors, would take on the airplanes and everything with a backdrop. We'd set up big umbrellas and make a whole studio, and we get the whole roster of like Jim Crockett guys and
Like
Georgia
your promo
guys.
photos?
Yeah. Do I have a favorite one? There are so many. It goes by era. Again,
Yeah.
I've been around forever. Um,
Do you have any framed at your house there in
Not
Apter's Alley? No.
photos of me with people.
Oh.
One of my favorite ones, that was when I set up a studio and shot this guy.
Oh, was that a
I'm the
giant I see?
I'm the shorter guy.
I can't see you. Are you in there? Oh,
Can you
there,
see him?
there it
Yeah,
is. Wow.
I'm the shorter guy. But yeah, there are pictures. Before I tell you about the wrestling one, this is my favorite photo I ever took of Muhammad Ali. I was at his training camp, and he was coming at me. I'm the greatest of all time, and I just shot into his mouth. Is that a great photo?
That's excellent. I can't
And
believe you took
Tony Burns, he was all sweaty after a. But yeah, I have a lot of. I'm trying to think. Probably my favorite cover shot that I ever took was a series of Ricky Steamboat and a series of Chris Jericho and Hogan, because they all glowed in the photo studios. They all looked so magnificent in the
that.
photo studio. And yeah, Ricky Steamboat and Chris Jericho were two of my favorites.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to
No,
be
no,
behind the camera or in front?
both,
Both.
both, both. I was never able to photograph your dad and his partner because
Oh,
at one point Vince McMahon Jr. banned all the wrestling magazines from the
really?
building, not just from ringside, but from shooting pictures anywhere. He had his own magazine, And now remember, I was very good friends with him and his dad, but he had his own magazine. He offered me a position of being the editor, and because my loyalty is first in my life, I wouldn't leave Mr. Weston. So we were all banned, and to get WWF pictures, we either bought them from the Associated Press until McMahon got wise to that and told them they couldn't give us send us pictures. We would send guys in with long lenses that would sneak in, and back then security at places like Madison Square Garden, they would just ask, what's in the bag? Oh, it's my dinner. I'm on a special diet. It's my hero sandwich or my hoagie. And then they'd go and sit by the cameras that were shooting the matches up with the press, and nobody bothered them. So that's why all those years you would see the WWF pictures from above. We weren't allowed to pose the guys, and a lot of their guys were very upset. Some of the guys would call me and say, I'm at the Marriott in Philly, come and take pictures of me in the hotel. I say, McMahon will fire you. He says, I don't care. I'm making a lot of money, and they're not going to fire me for this. Then they would get called on the carpet and say that Vince tore into them. And through the years, I'd see, once in a while, I'd go to Madison Square Garden, and his soldiers would come over and, you don't have a camera with you, do you, Bill? I said, I'd never embarrass me or Vince by doing that. I always had a great relationship with him. Once they started losing money around the time of the Nation of Domination, they started inviting me back. And I was able to start shooting pictures again. But it wasn't the same. It was something different. They were a bigger company, and then
Kind of
that's
lost
when
that.
yeah, and that's when WCW gave us carte blanche. Jim Crockett Promotions, once he knew we were banned, they put me on TV every week.
Funny how
Jim
that
Crockett.
works.
Oh yeah, Jim Crockett said to me, he said, "We're going to give you your own Pro Wrestling Illustrated segment," and there I was on the Turner Network doing interviews with Ric Flair and Magnum TA and Nikita, and then all the promoters saw that I could talk, and I'd go on and present awards from the magazine or just do segments with wrestlers. And that's why the fans started to recognize me, because once they realized that, like Gordon Soley would say, well, he's here from New York City or Philadelphia, and here you have a guy from New York coming in with a shirt and tie and like an executive that could talk. We started getting more publicity with me going to the territories. The promoters like Paul Bosch and Jim Crockett and even Ole Anderson were just like, when can you send Bill down again? So yeah,
Aw,
that's how I listen. I always tell people, and I think you know this from when you came down here, that I always wanted to be an entertainer. I didn't know this was my road in. People didn't know that I sing, I do comedy and all this stuff. And I wanted to get on TV as a wrestling broadcaster. So the magazines awarded me that life,
yeah.
to be not doing it steadily, but being a special guest, even doing commentary with
Yeah.
geniuses like
Like a
Gordon
very
Solie. But
broadened.
but it was very unfortunate that I never got to pose the British Bulldogs
Yeah.
together.
That would have been
I
awesome.
was able to pose Davy Boy a few times once the ban was lifted. Um, but he was at a different part of his career at that time.
Yeah.
Um,
How about the Hearts? Heart Foundation.
well, Bret Hart used to. Bret was a very good friend of mine. Jimmy Hart, great friend of mine. Jim Neidhart, great friend of mine. Danny Davis, great friend of mine. I never really got to pose them except once, maybe at a convention. And Bret once in a while would see a photographer that I had in in Detroit, and he'd go over to him and he'd say, "Are you shooting for Bill Apter?" And he'd say yes, and he'd say, "Well, you can take like 2 pictures." Yeah, so Bret knew the story.
Nice. I would love to
Yeah,
see those photos.
yeah. Well, I don't own them. They were all owned by. They're still owned by the company that owns the magazines that I worked for.
Yeah.
I have a little of my personal collection, but then again, it's mainly me with other people, with wrestlers.
Gotcha. Do
Yeah.
you have a favorite place, promotion that wrestling has given you, or a memory that wrestling has given you?
Oh my God, they all of them.
All of it.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say, I didn't spend any real time up in Calgary. I wish I was able to have done that, or in Portland. We
Yeah.
just,
My dad
uh,
loved Portland.
oh, I know he did. But you see, the thing is that Mr. Weston's mentality is that he's a publisher. Are people going to buy a magazine with the Grappler on the cover,
Yeah.
or Billy Jack Haynes when he was barely known? So
Mhm.
no. So, and we had people that were sending pictures. My parents lived in Florida, so I would go and visit them, and I would travel the Florida territory. Eddie Graham opened the entire promotion to me. Monday nights West Palm with my dad, Tuesday nights Jacksonville, Wednesday Miami, Thursday I forgot what town, Friday another town, Saturday another town. So I brought back 60 rolls of film for us to use and interviews for the writers to transcribe. Then Jim Crockett Promotions, the same thing. Jimmy just would put me in the car driving with Harley Race, my nephew's
Yeah.
father, with
Great
Harley
friend of my
Race. I was one time in a car with Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, Wendy Richter, and Terry Funk.
dad. Wow.
Oh my God.
It must have been
That,
a riot.
oh my, and for the first time in my life, I kept quiet. I
I
was
picture
listening.
you squished in the back.
Yeah, but no, it was just no, actually I was up front. Harley was driving. I was sitting up front. But just that they were talking to me as I was one of the boys already, and it was wonderful. They held nothing back at all, and they all appreciated the publicity that because we were, and I've got a photo up here that says we were print bait before there was clickbait.
Yeah.
And that's what we
We need
were
a
with the
t-shirt. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, that's what we were
Totally.
for the magazines, and they really liked the publicity. There were some wrestlers that shied away from the publicity; they didn't want any part of it. Why, I have no clue. But most people in the business were like, "Hey,
Appreciate
Bill,
it.
can you come here and even if it's not a cover shot?" And we had photographers in every area, but it meant more when I was coming to the
It was Bill
territory
Apter.
to the
Yeah. You made a
promoter.
name for
Yeah,
yourself, so
yeah. Well, thank you,
yeah.
thank you.
Your most memorable interview that you've done in your eyes?
Well, again, Bruno was
The
that
Bruno one?
that. Oh my God, just his whole life story. Also, Ernie the Cat Lad was incredible.
Yeah.
The only guy I never got to interview who I wanted to do was Vince.
That would have been cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm going to impart something on you that I brought him up again, but Vince Senior taught me something that I never heard anyone else say about the wrestling business.
Mhm.
He said, "No, don't trust anybody, even me," meaning him. I
Wow.
never forgot that, and I trust everybody.
Right.
So yeah, but the Bruno interview I think was part of my best work. Oh no, actually the interview that I did with the family of the Von Erichs a lot after the passing of a
Wow.
lot of Von Erichs. Those were very hard to do. I was
Oh,
so close with all the boys,
yeah.
really,
That,
and I'm still close with Kevin. Um, Interviews I did with Hogan, very memorable.
yeah.
Um, yeah, there's so many of them. You just have to throw names.
Yeah, it's totally era based too. Like,
They are totally Arabic based.
yeah.
Yes, 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 definitely.
So the whole angle between Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman, you played a small role in this. Can you
Small
tell us
role.
about this?
Oh my
Or a
God.
very large role?
No, no. Uh here in New York and Pennsylvania we call it Kaufman.
Ah, okay.
Kaufman. So
Kaufman.
Andy wanted to be Andy was not a comedian. He was a heel entertainer. Can you see this drawing of he and I?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Can't
he
quite
was
see you if you can back up a bit.
yeah, so
Yep.
he was a heel. Hold on, he was a heel entertainer, and he wanted to be a wrestler. His loves were Buddy Rogers and Fred Blassie. He hold on, wipe this one out.
Mhm.
He so wanted to be them. Uh, so one time we were backstage at Madison Square Garden, and Vince McMahon Sr. said he wasn't interested in having celebrities. So Andy came over to me. He's starring in Taxi, one of the greatest
Yeah.
sitcoms of all time, and he's starring as Latka, one of the and everything with his accent. Thank you very much, and all that. So Vince said no, and he came over to me. He knew who I was from the magazines, and he said to me, "What are you doing after the show?" I said, "I'm going home." He said, "Well, how do you get home?" I remember what a huge story was, so I said, "I take the E train, the subway."
Yeah.
He said, "Can I go with you?" And I said, "Okay." So here's Andy Kaufman, this absolute megastar, riding on the subway with me. People are going, "That's Andy Kaufman. That's the guy from Taxi." Um, so we get up to my apartment. I was living with Susan Sexton, who was the Australian girl wrestling champion, and every word out of her mouth was the F bomb. So we walked in the apartment, and she goes, "Oh, Bill and F and Andy Kaufman, what the heck are you doing here?" So we sat down. We started talking about wrestling for 45 minutes. She gets up. She says, "Is that all you two can talk about?" She went into the bedroom, got her headphones, Gabba Gabba Hey, Ramones, and we never saw her the rest of the night. So, so now I said to Andy, there's this guy in Texas by the name of Jerry Lawler, along with Jerry Jarrett, that runs a promotion that is extremely way ahead of the game. Here they do characters like the Mummy and Frankenstein. I said we should call him. He might be interested in this. So Andy said it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I said we're wrestling people. We stay up all night. Hold on, I'm
But
going
you
back into
unwind
the.
after the show. Hmm.
Say that again.
We usually unwind after the show, so it's
Oh
like it's
yeah,
late
yeah,
when it ends. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, but this wasn't a show.
Oh,
Oh, you're talking about right that
like
night.
from
Right,
a wrestling show. Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. So look at that,
Nice.
look at that with a neck brace. So we called
Love it.
Lawler at 1 in the morning, and he says, "You got Andy Kaufman, the guy from Taxi, in your roach infested apartment?" And I said, "Yeah." And I put him on the phone, and that's what put the key in the ignition. And a few days later, Andy was down in Memphis, and that's how it happened. And when they did the David Letterman show, Craig Peters and I were behind the cameras taking photos, and Andy gave me the neck brace that he wore that night, and that's when the WWE a few years ago came down to Apter's Alley, and I gifted it to them for the Missing Treasures show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat. Yeah, I had no idea that you were involved in that. That's so cool. So I wanted all my
Oh wow.
viewers to
Yeah.
hear about
Yeah.
that.
That's all over Google, and it's in my book too.
Yeah.
There's an
Mm.
entire chapter in my book. Is wrestling fixed?
Yes, let's talk about your book.
Is
Uh,
wrestling fixed?
I didn't know it
You
was
didn't know
broken.
it's broken. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I was
Yeah,
waiting
so you
on that.
travel around doing conventions. You're in many Hall of Fames, as we mentioned. You have your book that we just spoke about, and you do the one man show based on your book, correct?
Yes, I do a one man show that's different. Most people that go to one man shows are, they're all controversial. Let's talk about this angle. Let's talk about what a scumbucket this guy is. I don't do that. I
Right.
don't do that. I want a fun show, so I invented a show that has contests. For example, you remember the singlet that Taz wore?
Mm-hmm.
So he gave me a signed singlet. Can you see
I'm
it
gonna
there?
guess you put multiple people in it.
Yeah. Can you see it?
I can.
So we did. I do a quiz show of a contest with quiz show music of how long would it take a normal human being to get into a Taz outfit, and it's such hysterical
Yeah,
fun
that's fun.
actually. And I give out prizes, and it's fun. Then I show actual video footage it's about 11 minutes uh, of footage of the matches back in the office. I'm not sure if I showed that to
I
you
think
when
you
you came
did.
here.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That was an awesome video.
And here is the championship office wrestling belt. And then I have a video that people love to watch. It's one I have about 25 wrestlers on a video all giving me the finger.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
awesome.
tell you who this
Like
is.
a young Tommy Dreamer and
Yeah, but here's somebody giving me the finger who didn't want to be identified.
someone with a mask,
Um,
perhaps.
what's that?
Someone that wears a mask, or
No, no, no. I'm not going to reveal who it
oh,
is. This is my favorite one, by the way. Can you see this?
I see part of it. Is it Ric Flair?
It's Ric Flair, and he's giving me the finger, and the shirt says, "I've slept with the best." And
We'll be seeing Rick in Las
I,
Vegas.
I have an entire book. There's Mike Tyson giving me the finger.
It's amazing. I've seen this all in person,
Jake
everyone.
Roberts giving me the finger, and of course, a large part of my show is talking about Andy. There's a photo of me on stage in a theater in Philadelphia talking about Andy Kaufman.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Such an
Mhm.
amazing career you've had. You also sing. Is there anything you cannot do?
Well, probably I'm terrible with math.
Yeah.
And I'm terrible Monday nights when the garbage has to go out here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um, no, no. So I enjoy what I do. Again, the wrestling business has given me an uh, a whole entertainment side that people didn't know. I remember one night I went to it was in California, probably about 25 years ago, and all the wrestlers went out to karaoke. And one of them said, "Hey, Apter, you can't sing." And I got up there and I did, I swear by the moon and the stars in the sky. And they were like, they had no idea. And then with Dusty Rhodes, one night I went down. No, it wasn't Dusty Rhodes. It was Terry Funk. He's from Amarillo, and I did the George Strait song "Amarillo by Morning" up from San Antone. After that wasn't too good.
Yeah, right.
I wish he was
Sometimes.
here to induct me.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Him, Dusty, Bruno. Oh, they would. I'd have to have a battle royal of all the people who were gone to pick someone out of that group, Hulk Hogan, to that would that would become the winner and induct me if they thought I was worthy of that. But yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure they'll all be looking down on you on that evening. Is it which night are you? Is it the Tuesday or the
I will
Wednesday?
be Tuesday. I'll be in the hospitality room on Tuesday during the day signing on. And by the way, I have this, and I made this announcement. I have a collectible wrestling magazine cover that my friend Mark Charles, who's a referee and just a great guy, he made an old school wrestling cover that somewhere down the road we might come out with like a 16-page magazine. But I will be selling copies of this collectible cover at Cauliflower for $20 a piece, and I have a limited amount of them.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a collectible
Save me one if you
aftermath.
can. I'll be
What's
there.
that?
Save me one if you can. I'll put
Oh,
it
yeah,
in my dollhouse.
you don't. There's no $20 from you. Refuse to take
Oh,
it.
but I
You're
want to.
your niece. It's 1995 for you.
You got it.
The commercial
American? That's like
only
25 Canadian.
only 1995. But if you
Yeah.
order right now, well, I've enjoyed this hour so very
Yes.
much with
One more thing
you.
I just want to touch on is you are also involved in the humanitarian work that you
I
do,
am.
and
Before
that's
we
with
talk about that, I need another.
AHEDD. Is it AHEDD? Assisting persons with
Mm,
disabilities
mm,
to
mm,
find
mm, mm.
competitive employment.
Wait, stop. I left the head 4 years ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
thank you. I now work for a company called Access Services
Okay.
in
Same idea.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm glad I caught you on that. Uh, is it still on the internet that I'm with the head?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I thought I
See, I,
changed
I
that.
I knew that you did that, but I didn't know the company name, so
No,
I
that's
wouldn't have
okay.
known any
That's
different.
fine. So I work for a company called Access Services. They're located in Pennsylvania, in Montgomery, Bucks, and Lehigh Valley counties. And I'm part of an incredible team that helps people with disabilities to find real employment. Like, you have a disability, go right to McDonald's and clean tables. I've helped get people jobs in doctors' offices, not I, we, the whole team, in doctors' offices, in hospitals. If somebody has a dream, there's a young man came to me. He's autistic and he's 27 years old. And I said, what do you want to do? He's from Haiti. But he can't pronounce it. He says Haiti.
Yeah, the
All
accent.
he wanted to do is make pizza. So I found a Pizza Hut in his neighborhood that didn't know him, and I said, I'd like to see if he can get a job. So, well, do we have to pay him separately? No, no, just a regular job, community-based integrated employment. And they met him, and they gave him a job twice a week making pizza.
Yeah,
And he's been there for a year, and he loves it, and they love him.
that's wonderful.
So it's
I love
great. Yeah.
that about
So
you.
again, the company is Access Services, and they do more than employment. They do housing. There's so many things they do.
Financial probably struggles.
Yeah, right. It's all nonprofit. So yeah, I'm so
Well,
glad,
you
and I do that full time, and I do the wrestling thing full time, and I love them both. And if it wasn't for this part of the business, I never would have met you.
I know.
Unless I was online waiting for your autograph.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm very, very blessed to have connected with you and
likewise, you know that.
everyone. Like, it's going to be a big family reunion at the Cauliflower Alley Club, and I just
I
can't
can't
wait.
wait.
Cannot wait to see you again. Thank you so much for doing this with me. Is there anything you wanted to plug before we get off? I guess we
Yes,
plugged.
my Twitter X is at Apter, Apter, one wrestling. Not the word one, but the number one, Apter one wrestling. I'm on Facebook, and unfortunately I don't have a copy of the collectible cover down here in Apter's
I
Alley.
do believe you posted it somewhere on social media,
I
though. I've
did.
seen it.
It's on my Facebook page, so I will have a limited amount of copies. So get them while they last at Cauliflower. But I can't wait to see the look on people's faces
Yeah.
when I finally figure out who's going to present slash induct me into the Cauliflower Alley Hall of Fame because it's a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Very
Or at
well
Abrams,
deserved.
yeah.
I also can't wait. Thank you so much, Bill. And everyone, thank you for tuning in today on Dirt with the Doll.
You know what I have to end with, right?
Are you going to sing for us?
Well, if you want to, but I was going to use my usual, I'll see you at the matches,
Oh, yeah. We like
but
that
I'll
too.
see you at Cauliflower.
I'll see you at Cauliflower
Yeah,
Alley.
I can give you a couple of vibes of any song from, let's see, Barry Manilow, Steve Lawrence, Tom Jones, Andy Williams, uh,
Yeah,
Tracy.
just
Who?
give us a couple of lines.
Say
Your
that
favorite.
again?
You pick.
Who?
You pick. Whatever you're feeling.
Oh, I'm feeling Tom Jones ballad.
Okay. I'm
I've
in.
been in love so many times, thought I knew the score. But girl, you treated me so bad, I can't take anymore. And it looks like I'm never gonna fall in love again. Fall in love. I'm never gonna fall in love. Please don't make me fall in love again.
Thank you, Uncle Bill.
Did you like that?
I loved it.
See,
You're the best.
I have a whole singing machine here, but because you're on YouTube, if I
Yeah.
used it, you will get a strike.
Your wife's probably like, what the heck? He's singing again.
Oh yeah, she's upstairs probably watching something on Netflix.
He's used to it. Well, thank you again. I will tag you in everything when I post this probably tomorrow, and I
Please
can't wait to
do.
see you in a week.
And Uncle Bill loves you,
I love
and
you.
I will see you. Ah, there we go. See you at Cauliflower.
See you at Cauliflower Alley. Everyone, please remember to sign that petition to get my dad in the WWE Hall of Fame and to like and subscribe to X Brand Wrestling on YouTube. See you next time.
Do it now.
Do it now.